You know, every now and then somebody comes up with an idea or concept that may make a difference in children's lives, or at least let some of us who don't spend as much time with children understand what's going on with them, and educators do just that. But I have two educators here who are about to educate me and you about something that they observe in the classroom and something that warranted them to start what they call the MAC Phoundation. To talk with us a little bit more, Ryan Marshall and Granville Caldwell. Talk with me a little bit about the MAC Foundation. I said educators because both of you are educators. You have dedicated your life to passing along knowledge to the next generation. But in the course of doing that, you've observed some things, I take it, in classrooms across America.
Ryan and I both taught in Detroit, Michigan for 5-6 years before we came to Charlotte, North Carolina. And obviously Detroit Public School speaks for itself. It has a reputation which speaks for itself. But upon reaching Charlotte and teaching in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg system and area, we're noticing some of the same things that we see and have seen in Detroit, Michigan. Some of the same challenges that befuddle parents and students are now visiting Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, and we wanted to speak on some of those things.
We're talking about how kids are in the classroom and outside the classroom, some of the behaviors that maybe you would have seen on the street are actually day-to-day behaviors in the classroom.
A lot of the behaviors that we see tend to come from the environment and the community. The kids just bring the actions that they would normally take in the neighborhoods into the classrooms.
Yeah.
And now classrooms are battling the problems that the community has been battling for years or decades.
It almost follows a cycle, like saying if that problem has now come to the classroom and the educator has to deal with it, there's not a whole heck of a lot of education going on during that time that you actually have them under your care.
Exactly. A lot of times we have to put out little fires, as we like to call them, before we actually get to the educational portion of the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to be ATMs, police officers, bouncers, counselors, and even parents sometimes. So education some days does get put on the back burner as far as the textbook, but we still try to educate the children on life skills and what they need to prepare themselves for the future.
Now, I know this also prompted the two of you to write a book.
You would think as black men we would have less challenging students in our presence, but that isn't often the case. We have students that challenge us as if they would challenge a 4'5" garden gnome, and we just wanted to document some of the craziness that we have to deal with, even as male educators. We just started collecting our stories that were given to us by fellow educators, and we decided to come out with a book to represent those bizarre yet true stories.
Name of the book?
The name of the book is Thoughts
and Lamentations
of Urban Education.
Thoughts and Lamentations of Urban Education. Give me some examples of some of the stories.
Well, I think with the recent outbreak of teacher bashings and beatings that teachers have succumbed to, I myself was actually bitten by a student. So that's
Took a plug out of you, huh?
Took a plug out of me, right in the classroom in front of other kids. And the parents actually wanted to hold me accountable for that. So that's just one of the things that we see on a daily basis, and we decided to write about, because for us, we're each other's soundboard, and it was just very funny that a student would actually take a bite out of a teacher.
Like they were taking a bite out of crime as opposed to being the criminal themselves. Who you think you biting?
Exactly. So, and we have students that would come to take their ELCs, and just that was their time to go to sleep. They could care less about it.
The most important test of their immediate future, they would go to sleep. And we have students who will, on a daily basis, wear a $500 outfit, but will come to class with an empty book bag.
Not to mention a pencil.
Pencil.
Paper has nothing to do with this.
I expect the teacher to give me the pencils and paper and notepads and folders. And it's just a shift in expectations. There's a gulf between our expectations for them and the expectations they have for themselves. And so we deal with the fights in the classrooms, the fights on campus, escapades in the schools. And
security slow to respond.
Slow to respond. The overwhelmed teacher, the teacher who has to sneak in new strategies mid-year, replacing teachers mid-year, teachers quitting mid-year. Frustrated parents pulling out the very kids that are necessary to sustain an academic environment. And so what we're witnessing in an increasing way is the leftover, the pool of students who are left over are the very students who don't want to be educated when they come to school.
For those of you who are just joining us here on Straight Talk, I'm talking with Ryan Marshall and Granville Caldwell, educators, and have written a book, Thoughts and Lamentations of Urban Education. But they also have the MAC Foundation. Now, explain to me a little bit about the MAC Foundation.
Well, I think the premise of the MAC Foundation is to take education beyond the classroom and to the classroom of the world.
Yeah.
Our main goal is not only to educate the kids that we teach, but also to educate the parents, because our root is it starts at home.
Yeah.
And if we have the support from the parents and the hard work and dedication that it takes to be a parent, then our job would be a lot easier. But when you have parents who blatantly and openly defy teachers in their faces and in front of their children, then their children get that sense, well, this teacher isn't important, and that teacher loses respect. Our goal is to move beyond the walls of the classroom and educate the world on what teachers go through and what we need to be successful.
With the MAC Foundation, seminars, get-togethers with parents and other things as to, parents, this is what you need to do to sort of interact with us, make this a better situation?
Yes, that's our ultimate goal. We're just starting out, so we don't have any backing. This is me and Caldwell doing it all ourselves, doing all the footwork, all the legwork. So we're trying to align speaking engagements and things like that where we can educate the public and the parents.
So you would come out and tell them about these episodes in the school and maybe pass along tips and pointers on what parents can do to support teachers.
Absolutely. And so far we've spoken, for example, we've spoken at Bishop Spa Community Academy after school one day. We had a chance to sit down with 30 young people. We shared with them the realities, not just of high school, but the realities of their world as African Americans. And just simple things to point out with them. You would be surprised, as savvy as they appear to be, there are things that they're utterly unaware of, and we just want to share those things with them. You know, we have engagements. We're working on college campus speaking engagements, and so as Ryan pointed out, right now it's just us working, but what's small now will grow and be big and beneficial pretty soon.
Do you think being in the classroom is something for both of you gentlemen that you want to continue as career path in addition to doing what you're doing with the MAC Foundation?
Be honest, Ryan.
Yeah, be honest. It's like, we get this off the ground, I'm out of here.
Well, I always look at myself as a person that likes to help others.
Yeah.
And if I have to stay in the classroom and get my point across, then so be it. But my ultimate goal is to expand our repertoire to outside of the classroom walls and educate the world. Because if we can educate parents, then our job will be to help other teachers who are coming into the system. That's our ultimate goal, is to help a lot of people who are coming into education and want to be educators, to give them a first eye view of what they may realize when they step foot into that classroom for the first time. So if we can educate parents along with their children, let them know what is required of them and the expectations that educators have for them, then the new and upcoming educators will have a very light time of it, and they won't have to go through the trials and tribulations that Caldwell and myself have gone through.
I gotta say, the two of you are taking the high road on this. But this has also got to be a warning bell to all of us, not just the parents of those kids, but community in general, that if something doesn't change, are we going to lose the caliber of teachers such as yourselves and others who say, I got mine, I don't have to go in that classroom?
And I think you're starting to see that with the high turnover rate in education. All of your experienced teachers and the teachers who do this with a passion and who have a calling to do this job they're leaving because they're not getting support from the administration. They're not getting support from the community. They're not getting support from the government. So they're saying, why do I need this when I can just go to a straight 9-to-5 job? And when I leave that job, I leave it at work. I don't have to take it home. I don't have papers to grade. I don't have lesson plans to do. So I think
I don't have to go in my pocket and buy supplies because I don't have them from the school system.
Exactly. I don't have to buy a child lunch. I don't have to buy a child an outfit, to wear a uniform or something like that. And I can spend more time with my own family. When you're an educator, you don't spend a lot of time with your own family. So you're starting to see a high turnover rate come in these recent years.
That's right.
Tell me how people can get in contact.
Well, they can get in contact with us, first of all, through our website, www.macfoundation, foundation spelled with a PH, macfoundation.com. Our book is available in global distribution. Lulu.com is our primary source where you can order the book. If you go to Borders, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, you can order the book there as well.
And also Park Road Bookstore. You can get a copy at the main library here in Charlotte.
But we want you to go to Lulu, LULU.com, to get a copy of Thoughts and Lamentations of Urban Education. I want to thank both of you gentlemen for taking the time to do what it is that you're doing. Ryan Marshall and Granville Caldwell, thank you from Straight Talk.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.